Okay, we're going to reconvene after our pictures, and we're going to go right to number 5, councillor announcements, starting at Councillor McLaughlin.
Well, I guess the biggest news, and I'll pass it on to my colleague, because he's a lot more knowledge than I do about it. I'll just pass on to my colleague.
Councillor Olmsted.
Yeah, 2 things, actually 3 things. One is, I think it's the 2nd annual Whitewater Brewing Golf Tournament this weekend, July 8th. And July 8th is also the Tour to Whitewater out of Westmeath. I think they're well over 200 participants registered now. I think they're heading towards 300 as a matter of fact, which is about double what they thought. And the big one on my plate is Street Strut. We're a week and a half or so away. Ticket sales are starting to climb, and the good Lord looks like he's going to be good to us. It's supposed to be 25 and sunny that day, so we're expecting a full turnout and a really good day.
Thank you.
Saturday, July 15th.
Yes. Councillor Jackson.
Nothing at this time.
Councillor Mackay.
I'd like to apologize for being late. I thought it was Tuesday.
Hayen, Dave? No need to apologize for haying. You've had 3 days of good weather. First time this year. Councillor Rigger.
I have nothing at this time, thank you.
Reeve Miller.
Just my apology for no tie, that's all.
I could have lent you my necklace. Can't help it, eh?
Announcement would have been thank you for the coat.
Yeah. The tour to Whitewater, breakfast starts at 7 and it goes until 11. At I believe at 7:30 is the send-off for the 100K, and then shortly after that they will do the increments. I think there's a 50K and a 10K. I'm going to do the 200 feet. Well, it's my bike tires are a little iffy. I will be there with Mike, making presentations and so forth on behalf of the municipality. Everybody for sure is welcome. If you can come for breakfast, it'll be a good breakfast. And it's going to be a wicked event. I understand that they're still waiting. They think that most of the local people will sign up as they come, and so the people from far away, they're out, they're amazed with the turnout or whatever. The same thing is going to be true with the Street Strut. We're going to be amazed. And I just have a question of Reeve Miller. Are they still going to throw balls at me? Okay, so there's going to be a tub of water and a seat above it. All right, well, I'll be there. I have no bathing suit, so this might be a little iffy. Yeah, okay. Very good. Thank you very much.
Al, you know all about displacement, right? Water displacement, you know about that? Just saying.
I don't know how you sneak those fat jokes in from nowhere. Yeah. Anyway, yes, I do. I learned that in grade 11. Okay, we'll move on. Standing Committee, Building and Planning. We have nothing on that? Okay, Community Services.
First item on the agenda for the Community Services Committee meeting is an arena operations update. Recommendation that the Community Services Committee receive this report for information purposes only. Can I have a mover? Councillor Mackay, seconder, Councillor Rager. So if you just click on the link, you'll see a very well done report on our 3 sessions. So last, I guess 2 Saturdays ago, June 24th, we did an arena sessions update between Cobden, Westmeath, and Beachburg. The sessions went very well. All 3 started out kind of slowly, and I think there were some residents were a little apprehensive about what our message was going to be. And by the time we were done showing them what the township was up to, and that we're actually sticking our hand out to help rather than hinder any of the operations. All 3 associations, or all 3 areas, I think understood what we were trying to do and what needed to be done in the future. Some of the comments, a lot of favorable comments, but some of the comments were, this could have been done 10 years ago, and we, at the end of the day, I think everybody understood that we're moving in the right direction. The goal is to keep all 3 arenas open and not move towards closing any of the arenas, and in fact, maybe enhance the arenas and get the utilization rate up in all 3 arenas, including the halls. Right now, our utilization, they vary between all 3, but all 3 of them could be used a lot better than they're being used now. And that's going to take a consolidation of efforts, and one person kind of managing all 3 will really enable us to do that. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any of the questions. Or Robert, if you want to add anything to that. It was Robert, Hal, and I attended all 3 sessions. Yeah, so if you have any questions, or Robert, if you want to add. Yes, Councillor.
I got a lot of feedback on that, and everybody seemed to be very happy with it.
Good. Yeah, we were, I think when we first discussed this as council, and between Hal and I and Robert, we expected a lot of negative feedback in certain areas, and it actually ended up being the exact opposite. The regions that we expected that would be very apprehensive were they were almost elated that we were coming to help. But you hear lots of horror stories that there's money out there, and there's everybody's making money under the table, and the associations, even though we're giving them grants every year, there's not everything's above board, and I can tell you nothing is further from the truth. That all 3 associations are just surviving on what we're giving them, and they're trying to make ends meet. So at the end of the day, all 3 were very receptive. Mayor?
I'd just like to add that of all of the public meetings that we have had since we started this term, this was by far the largest turnout in all 3 locations. It was it is normal in a public meeting to get 1, 2, or none, and I think we had as many as 70 at one of the meetings, and it was very, very exciting to hear what the people were asking and coming forward and discussing, and we need to add that our chair, Chris Olmsted, opened up every one of the meetings with a full disclosure of what we were intending to present, and I think that was the biggest and best thing that we could have done, because that got the understanding to start, and the questions that came from that understanding were excellent. So I just wanted to thank our chair.
Councillor Jackson?
I would also like to thank Councillor Olmsted and Mayor Johnson and the CAO Rob Tremblay for bringing this forward in such an expedient way. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend on Saturday. I was away at a conference, returning on Saturday, and but I knew it was in good hands, and I agree it's been a long time coming. Unfortunately, it was never addressed at amalgamation, in 2001, and it's always been a hot potato out there, wondering what people how they would react if this were to occur. And I'm really happy to hear that everybody's on board. There's a lot of questions, but I think the way we're approaching it and how you guys have put it together is excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Although he won't take any credit for it, Robert was incredibly instrumental in getting this done. I think Cobden came to us May 26th, something like that. May 26th, and we really had it wrapped up about a month later. And I think we sat here last time reading the motions that needed to be done. Now, I think there was 12 motions on the one item that need to be dealt with. So again, Robert just kind of takes it as it comes, and he's like a duck with water off his back. But there's an incredible amount of work that Robert has done to see this through, and there's no way we could have done this without the incredible amount of hard work that he's put into it. So.
More work to come.
Yeah, we're just starting. I think that's the only item I have on the agenda. All in favor? Carried.
Okay, we'll bring the Human Resources Committee meeting to order here. We do have an updated organizational chart and employment bylaw. And if I could get a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Mayor Johnson, seconded by Councillor Mackay. And I think I'm going to turn this over to Rob, and he's going to just give us a bit of an update here.
Sure. In terms of the 12 recommendations from the last time, we did do the bylaw to dissolve the rec association. That happened at the last meeting. I will be drafting the terms of reference for the arenas transition team and the rec advisory committee. That will be coming to the next meeting. Marcia is also working on the supplemental budget for the arenas, including fees and charges. What we did do is the 2 job descriptions, and they're included in the agenda for the supervisor of arenas and parks, as well as the new customer service coordinator, who will also take on accounts receivable and assist the new supervisor, as well as Jordan. So those were included. And those jobs were evaluated by the county HR and been placed on the full-time grid. The org chart also reflects that we will be inheriting the remaining casual staff that reported to each of the arena managers, so they're reflected in the new org chart as well. And the grass cutting contract will move from physical services over to the new supervisor of parks. The other minor changes, any kind of minor changes in titles and information technology, which Carmen has been good to follow up on. A number of issues has been reflected to be under the responsibility of the deputy clerk. So if there's any questions, but this is one of the steps in implementation.
Councillor Jackson.
And I just thought of this now, unfortunately, but where does the arena operators fall in under the grid? So the part-time people that are going to be working the ice and all of that.
So right now our grid has full-time and then has fire part-time, it doesn't really reflect any of our casual or part-time, such as the crossing guards. So what we'll do, one of the other tasks that we need to do is job descriptions for the arena operators. There will likely be 2 classifications, senior and junior. And then we'll create a third grid for the casual part-times that will reflect. We also have a landfill operator who's part-time, who's getting the wage based on with the other landfill operator, but we should have a part-time grid. Right now, it's not really showing. So once we do the job descriptions, have them evaluated with the assistance of HR at the county, we'll create that part-time casual grid.
Does it have to be a separate grid, or can it not be if they're graded at a level 1 or whatever, then it's just an hourly rate?
Yeah, I think that's something that we'll confirm with Mr. Beakley to see can it be incorporated in the full-time grid. And recent changes to legislation provincially have confirmed that if you're doing the same work but at a part-time, you should be receiving the same compensation but at an hourly rate. So whether or not we can play with the current grid and just factor in the part-time casuals, or whether it's a third grid, but we'll sort that out with the county. And then that will come back to council.
1 grid would be nice.
Any other questions or concerns? Okay, then I'll call for a approval. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And that closes the human resources, and I'll just stay right here, and we'll move on to roads, property, and protection. I have a recommendation here that the Roads, Protection, and Property Committee recommend Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the award of tender 2017-08 tandem truck to Freightliner North Bay bid A at a cost of $270,532.36 after HST rebate. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor McLaughlin, seconded by Councillor Jackson. Any comments or concerns? Sure, Janet, please.
We received 4 bids for the tandem truck. Staff recommendation is not for the lowest bid. There's a very nominal difference between the 2. And on part of the report, near the bottom of the first page, actually, we've just started to indicate a few of the items that weren't meeting the specifications. Our mechanic did go through it thoroughly and highlighted a number of items. Again, I've just put a few items down on this. So the difference in the 2 bids is $403.31. So again, it is nominal. Following this, actually on the next report, I've combined all of the equipment and vehicles so that council will have a good look at where we're over and under budget. So I think you'll find that interesting.
Very good. Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Councillor Mackay?
Where's the other truck from?
The other truck was ELP. I believe their office or their bid came out of Quebec, but I'm not sure what the town. They're a very well-known vehicle, and they're certainly a good vehicle as well. It's a little town. I just can't place the name. I can certainly find that out for you.
Councillor Olmsted.
Sure. Are you saying the Freightliner bid does fall within all the specs?
It's no, I wouldn't say any of them follow absolutely all of them, and there's probably 70 or 80 items that we've requested, but they're much more minor in nature, as itemized by a few of these things. The reason I put the height and length of the mold board in particular is we have any breakages, we can't take one off another vehicle and put it on the ELP. We also have a shorter length when we're plowing 14 inches or feet down to 12 feet. Those kind of things make a difference, in particular if you're winging off sidewalks versus plowing sidewalks. Again, on the back side, you can see Freightliner will provide garage or roadside during the warranty period. ELP doesn't. We're also shipping that back to them, and we're incurring the cost to get it there and back. really a maintenance thing. That's not just a reason why not, but with the cost of both, Freightliner certainly was much closer in meeting all of our specs.
If I may, one more question.
Yes, certainly.
And I see Freightliner has 2 bids in. Is it just two different trucks that
Correct.
they've got already ready to go? Okay, thank you.
Is that not the same truck with 2 different outfits of equipment?
I can go back, I again would have to go back and look, but yes, it's they're,
Yeah. That's the typical is that they would do Viking and maybe La Rochelle or something, and one is more expensive than the other, which puts their truck price to be the same, their equipment price to be different. I think
yes,
that's...
I'd have
is
to
that not
check
it?
and see if it is the exact same chassis, or if they've actually got 2 chassis and have put different equipment on, but they've submitted 2 bids, it's basically the same truck, or very close.
Anything else? Okay. Councillor McLaughlin?
I was just looking and thinking about this, and with the warranty, and if you don't have, because it costs a lot to ship the trucks back and forth to cover your warranties, and that's what I'm gathering has to happen there, rather than with the Freightliner. We
Yeah.
can do.
It would depend on,
It depends obviously on the piece, on what the problem was
Correct.
as well. If it's minor though,
Yes,
Yeah.
they don't provide the roadside or in-garage at Westmeath service.
yeah, so that could add up very quickly. I think is what that's where I was coming. Once you start to deal with shipping and moving things back and forth, it adds up fast. So I would have to agree with the decision.
Okay. Anything else? Then we'll call for a vote. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Item B, there is a tender for 2017-07 medium-duty single-axle 4x4 truck. There is a recommendation that Roads Protection and Property Committee recommend Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the award of tender 2017-07 medium-duty single-axle 4x4 truck to Freightliner North Bay at a cost of $226,664.41 after HST rebate. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor McLaughlin, seconded by Councillor Mackay. Any questions? Janet, would you like to?
Okay, we've put all the information down. We are taking the lowest tendered price here. However, I do want to point out that it's over budget by just over $9,000. Sorry. Have I got my numbers correct? Yes, I do 9,000, sorry, because we had budgeted 217. What I did want to point out was on page 20 of your project, what I've done is we have now finished, if these are approved, all of the capital purchases for vehicles and equipment. So what I've done on the chart there is note the price, the budgeted, and whether it's over or under. As a total for all of the equipment, we will be under budget by just over $8,000. That doesn't necessarily mean that'll go to reserves. If you recall, the new service vehicle for the mechanic needed a few tools, minor tools, a paint job to match our other vehicles, etc. So we're still confident that can all be completed within. But I wanted to just make sure council is aware of where we're over, where we're under, but as an overall budget, we should be good.
Thank you, appreciate that. Any comments or questions? Okay, none, then we'll call for a vote. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Janet.